Welcome to today's edition of the African Dream. Today, we're going to do something a little different. How? Well, we're going to try to give you two shows for the price of one. By that, I mean we're going to try killing two birds with one stone. And we're going to begin our first interview with Samuel Inkoom. Samuel Inkoom is a Ghanaian international soccer player who is now plying his career in Portugal. Samuel is playing for the team Boa Vista, a traditional Portuguese club, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how he ended up playing with Boa Vista, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself also. When we're done with Samuel Inkoom, we'll talk to Sonny Young of the Voice of America. Sonny Young has been working for the Voice of America Broadcasting Sports for the past quarter century. Yes, he's been doing this for 25 years. But anyway, before we get into all that good stuff about Sonny Young, let's talk to Samuel Inkoom first. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Because if you like sports, today's show is going to be something you will love. And especially if you like soccer, then prepare yourself to have some fun because this is going to be an all soccer show. Good day to you out there. My name is Ofori and welcome to another exciting edition of your favorite human interest chat show, The African Dream. Today we have Samuel Inkoom who is going to be joining us via Skype in Portugal. Samuel Inkoom is a Black Star footballer and he formerly played DC United, but he's now playing in the European League. He's going to join us today again from Portugal and tell us a little bit about how things are going on with his new career start in Portugal. How are you doing today, Samuel Inkoom?
I'm fine. I'm blessed.
Good. I like the new hairstyle.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we hear you're now playing in Europe. You're playing for Boa Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in Boa Vista now, and yeah, back in Europe.
Yeah.
So
you seem to have a liking for European soccer clubs, especially in the Swiss league, where you had a very good career. But let us know, how did you end up in Boa Vista?
well, I think I finished the contract with DC United, and they show interest in me, and I came to Boa Vista. I think I've been in Europe before. I was in Basel. I've been in Ukraine as well. I've been in Greece. I've been in France as well. And one thing I've learned in Europe is that even Boa Vista is like traditional team. They cherish you as a player, which for me I love so much because they want you to play with passion. You know what I mean? So I want to give everything. So I think it's nice to be in Boa Vista.
Right. What has been some of the new things that you have witnessed or experienced with Boa Vista that have left a mark on you as a player?
The coach gave me confidence. Me as a player. I've been World Cup 2 times. I've played Champions League, Europa League. So and also I'm also giving it to the players also. So it's something that which I cherish so much. That when you are going to somewhere and if the people feel that you are important, you also do everything possible to pay them back. So this is what he has given to me, and I'm also giving it to the club.
After you had left DC United, you went to Ghana for a while. Now, while in Ghana, how did your fans receive you?
It was lovely. I went to see my family as well, my dad and my mom. I was also happy. That I came to DC United. They are a great club, and it's very unfortunate that I finished the contract with them, and I need to move on, like me and you know.
While you were in DC United, I remember we once had a conversation, and you were talking about Major League Soccer as being one of the one of the leagues in the world that is slowly rising and gaining a name for itself. And I remember back in the days, a lot of people didn't regard Major League Soccer. And now listening to what you said with to me in our interview a couple of months ago, and seeing how a lot of stars, especially from Africa and from Europe, are flocking in to play with Major League Soccer. How does that make you feel?
Like I told you before, some people thought like Major League Soccer is like more like university student. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But when I came there, it's different. All people are thinking the league itself is going good. You see now a lot of big stars are in Major League Soccer. So this tells you how the league is growing. And for me, I think it's growing big time now. People are going there, show people that we play football in what do you call it, Major League Soccer. It's not like the way people are thinking. Even people are saying that when you are coming to end your career, that you go to Major League Soccer. But when I came there, a lot of young players, a lot of talented players are there. I think one of the Seattle players even went to Tottenham, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
So it tells you how football in Major League Soccer has developed. This is my opinion, seriously.
Now you've played in a number of European clubs, and you're now back to Europe, precisely Portugal with Boa Vista. What do you want to achieve with Boa Vista in your career?
I think I took my first trophy already, which I was happy. So what I'm praying for, that I want Almighty God to give us the strength. That's the most important thing, to do everything possible. Last year they were in 13th position, but I believe that this time around, either Champions League or Europa League. That's our ambition now.
Now, are there in Boa Vista, are there other African players in the league that you are playing with, that you are connecting with as an African?
Yes, I think in Boavista, I can tell you that it's more like African team in Boavista. I think we are about, let me say, we are about, I think, 11 or 12. Nigeria, we have Senegal, we have Ghana, we have, I think we are a lot in the team. And we have Brazilians as well, we have Portuguese as well. For me, I came to the team seriously. This team is more like family. This team, there's more blacks, even the Portuguese himself, the Brazilians. So it's kind of something that I'm happy with.
Right. And you have people from Ghana in Boa Vista as well. Do you remember any names?
Yeah, we have Christian Poga, we have Hackman, we have Gable, we have Uchebo, we have Uchewomfo, we have Tengalenga, which is Portuguese, we have Afonso, Portuguese, we have Carlos, Portuguese, a lot of them. I'm very happy.
Now,
Yeah.
now, so how is your family, accepting your move to Boa Vista?
I think all of them they are happy to be back in Europe, and they are coming. They will come very soon. I can't wait to see them as well. So we just give chance to God that now we're back in Europe, we need to do everything possible. That it's not new to me because I've been in Europe. So we just need to do what is right to build the career back.
Ultimate, goals for a lot of, African players who are playing in European leagues or in, the Major League Soccer or wherever, whether it's in China, like a Samoa John. One of the ultimate goals of every, African player playing outside their continent is to play for their national team. And your national team is the Black Star. Now, what are you doing to help, the coaches of the Black Star realize that, hey, Inkoom is back on the block?
Yeah, seriously, everything depends on the coach. I think if you are doing well, if you are playing well, why not? It's your country, and you have to also pay them back. It's very important to play for your national team because, for instance, me, I'm from Ghana, and I need to also help my country in terms of football. So I believe that if the coach know that you are doing well or you are the kind of player, you suit his system. Why not? He will call you to come and help. So I believe that if Betty is playing very well in Indonesia, if Asamoah Gyan is playing well in China, if Mubarak Wakasu is playing well, if Samuel Inkoom is also playing well in Boa Vista, why not? If you think that you come to the national team to help the country, I think this is something that every player is looking for. So I think when they call you, it's up to you to also go and pay back to your country in terms of football.
Now, how important is it for you to play for the Black Stars?
I think it's very, very important to play for Black Stars, and I'm a Ghanaian as well. I think it's lovely to play for your country.
Now, Inkoom, tell me, as Ghana prepares for the next World Cup, what do you hope that the Black Stars can achieve if they qualify for the next World Cup?
I think it's not easy. It's not easy to qualify for World Cup. Me and it's big tax, and you are not going to find it easy. But I believe that if you are united, you listen to the coach, you do what is right, I believe that we can qualify for 2018 as well.
So you're looking forward to going to Russia, personally?
Yes, I'm looking forward to go to Russia. Yeah, yeah.
Nice, interesting. So, what is it about African football that is changing right now, which you think the world should pay attention to?
I think we had a good African Cup, and nowadays is you cannot say that maybe you can go and be, let's say, Burkina Faso just like that by saying it by your mouth that okay, I'll be Burkina Faso, or I'll be maybe Rwanda, or maybe I'll beat Botswana or Gabon or something like that. It's not easy now because I think football there now is you have a lot of stars, a lot of young players which they are hungry to achieve something in football. So everything that's why I'm saying that now African football have changed. You know, before we have certain names when you mentioned like everybody know that, yeah, but now everything have changed. The young ones are hungry. So you can see how the African football is selling by itself.
The young ones are hungry, says Inkoom.
Yeah.
Now, we all know soccer is your career and your passion, but outside of soccer, what else do you do to occupy yourself?
Yeah, I think I used to watch a video, some of my video clips as well after game, see one or two things which I did which is not good, and also watching movies, going to cinema with the family, going to playground with my kids, enjoying the time that maybe I'll be a day off. I enjoy my time with them, and this is what I feel like I'm part of my family.
Nice.
My family is very important to me. If my family is happy, then I'm happy on the pitch.
Now, Inkoom, tell us, how long is your contract with Boa Vista going to run?
I signed Boa Vista for 3 years, and you know, in football, you never know. You can even play 2 games, and a club will show interest in you, and they will start talking to the club as well. But at the moment, I'm a Boa Vista player, and I need to do everything possible for Boa Vista. Like I told you, that maybe Champions League or Europa League, which is our ambition, which is not going to be easy. Like I'm saying, we need to work hard at it. So now I'm a Boa Vista player, and I need to die for Boa Vista.
Is there any message you have for your fans out there? Especially, there's been a lot of people who have talked about the fact that, oh, Inkoom's career is nosediving, it's coming down because you didn't play for a while after DC United, and people were worried about you. But now that you're back to, active, playing days with Boa Vista, what do you have to say to your fans?
I think first of all, I need to thank them very much for them showing concern about me. Sometimes you come down and you come up. This is our job, and this is part of our job as well. So for me, I just finished the contract of DC United, and I was just looking for the right team to go and play. So that's why I just waited for a little bit to see the right club for me to go. And now I'm a club that which I know that I'm happy with back in Europe. So I thank them very much. The most important thing is that they need to keep on praying for me. And when I'm also on the pitch, I will also make them happy. I want to tell them that Inkoom is back again.
Inkoom is back again. Life in Portugal, life in Ghana, life in the USA. You've lived almost like in respective countries on respective continents. When you look at your playing career as a young footballer, what do you want to achieve? When your playing days are over and you hang your boots and you look back in time, how do you want Samuel Inkoom to be remembered?
I'm still on it, and I love football, and I will be happy if I finish my career to help the young ones as well. Even now, playing, I'm still doing it. I still recommend some of the players to some clubs. They used to call me that, what do you think about this player? What do you think about this? And I do also recommend them very good because I believe that the young ones are also coming. They also have the talent, but they need some people to talk to them, give them advice. Do that, don't do that. If you do that, you will not go the way you want to go. So it's kind of something that we need to also educate them to know what is right and what is bad. So me, after my career, I think I will help some of the young ones also to achieve where they want to go.
Interesting. So you're looking forward to, helping young up and coming footballers in Ghana and across Africa to live the dream of playing soccer in top international, leagues and all that. That's a good way of giving back.
Thank you very much.
Now, Inkoom, so if you didn't end up playing soccer, what would you have been doing?
Yeah,
Would you have been a model? Because people say you're a very well dressed person, and I noticed that on social media when I check out your photos. I see you wearing suits and ties, and looking suave and nice.
And you can see a lot of great players. They look nice because this is their office. Me being on the pitch is my office.
Right.
You know where I'm coming from. So I think you need to also look good. My father, before, he was telling me you need to go to school. So, and I think I will follow my father's footsteps. Maybe I will turn up teacher or something like that.
Interesting. Teaching football. Well,
Yeah.
Samuel Inkoom, it's been exciting talking to you, and we look forward to hearing more from you as you pursue your career with Boa Vista. And we wish you all the best with Boa Vista, and we hope that you do well in the European League and you get to live your dream of playing once again for the Ghanaian national soccer team, the Black Stars. Thank you for talking to the African Dream, Samuel Inkoom.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for people to also know what we are doing in Europe, know what we are also doing in our league. We are also praying for you that you give them good feedback every time.
As usual, we do our best.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Samuel Inkoom. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Samuel Inkoom. Now, if you might recall, he mentioned about the World Cup in Russia 2018. As we move on to talk to our next guest, who is Sonny Young of the Voice of America, we'll be talking some more about the World Cup, especially the immediate past one, which happened in Brazil. In this conversation I had with Sonny Young, we try to preview the chances of the African team in the just ended World Cup. Hopefully, my conversation with Sonny Young whets your appetite for the upcoming World Cup in Russia, which is 2018. And enjoy my conversation with Sonny Young of the Voice of America. All right, this is Ofori of the African Dream. Well, today we're here in Washington, D.C. at the VOA studios, and we're having a quick chat with Sonny Side of Sports. And hopefully we're going to get to know more about Sonny when we're done. How are you doing today, Sonny?
I'm doing great, Orla. How about this great World Cup studio?
I know.
I love it. I love it.
It's crazy. I feel very lucky to have walked into a studio like this, But yeah, it's good to be here. Now, people are asking, who is Sonny Young? How long has he been working with the Voice of America?
Started in 1988, so I've spent the better part of a quarter century at the Voice of America. One of my mentors here was a guy by the name of Barry Mon, who basically sort of bequeathed his sports segment to yours truly. Barry's show was called Sports Journal. And I think one of the things that Barry said to me when he kind of handed it over, he said, I can teach you a lot of things, but I can't teach you passion, that fire in the belly. And I've always had a passion for sports.
I can tell.
I've loved sports. I grew up playing a half dozen different sports as a youngster.
Interesting.
And I still do a little running today, and I love sports. Yeah.
That's interesting. Anyway, so Sonny, tell us, how did the name Sonny Side of Sports came into being?
Sonny is my nickname, and in case you're wondering, my mother said I was a very happy baby,
Nice.
so she named me Sonny. And so Sonny Side of Sports is a play on my name, but also in some ways it's part of my philosophy. I do try to promote positive stories in the sports world and encouraging stories when possible. So yeah, I think it is. I think it fits.
Now, speaking of positive stories, one of the most exciting and biggest sporting extravaganza is going to be the World Cup, which is right there behind us in Brazil 2014.
Kicks off in June,
right.
Typically a month-long tournament.
Right.
And from an audience perspective, from both your audience and my audience, 5 African teams will be in Brazil. And why don't we run them down? We'll have Ghana will be there, Nigeria, Cameroon, which has the proudest World Cup pedigree of any African team.
Right.
Also Ivory Coast, and Algeria is the 5th African team. And if those teams sound familiar to our viewers right now, well, yes, those same 5 African teams all qualified for South Africa 4 years ago.
Right.
So kind of a deja vu moment. But well, let me throw it to you this time, Oral. I know you're from Ghana. Do you like the chances of the Black Stars in Brazil?
I think they have a very positive mental attitude. A couple World Cups back, when Ghana, went to represent the nation at the World Cup, we had that mentality of, oh, at least we qualified.
Right.
That's good enough.
Right.
But now they're going in with a whole new aggression, a whole new, much more positive, heightened sensitivity, where they're like, this time we're going to do better than we did last time. And, even though last time we did awesome, we're trying to kick it a notch up and do much better. So it's always positive to go into the World Cup with a winning mentality for, especially for African nations. We should have gotten past that point where just qualifying and going there and playing is a feather in the cap. Now we have to go there with a winning mentality. And we're going to win the World Cup.
I agree with you. I think the Black Stars of Ghana definitely have a winning mentality. Yeah. Haven't watched a lot of them this year. However, I did see that match in Kumasi when they played Egypt. And I was amazed at how good Ghana looked in that match. I think they crushed the Egyptians. I think it was like 6-1. But one thing that really impressed me about the Black Stars, Oral, is their speed.
Yeah.
They're one of the fastest teams I've seen.
I agree.
And they're going to play the USA in their opening match in Brazil. And I think the Americans have their hands full. I mean, the Americans, physically, they're a strong team.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to cope with Ghana's speed and passing ability. And I think that's a very tough group. Ghana has to get out of a group that includes not just the USA, but Portugal and Germany, 2 of the European powers. But I think Ghana can do it. I do. I think they can get out of that first round.
It's it's good to hear a non-Ghanaian speak so highly of the Ghanaian team. So if you're listening to this and you're from Ghana and you like the Black Stars, then Sonny Side of Sport is rooting for you. But I mean, let's be frank. Sonny is from the US of A, so obviously he's going to be rooting for his home team. And if you follow World Cup history, then the Americans haven't had it very easily playing the Ghanaian team in the last couple of World Cups.
In fact, I was actually at the match, Oral, 4 years ago when that match went to extra time when they played the Americans.
Right.
I think it was in Rustenburg, and great match.
Yeah.
And Ghana won in extra time. But that was the second straight World Cup that they knocked out the boys in red, white, and blue. But I do have a very soft spot in my heart for Ghana.
Yes.
And if you want to put me on the spot, I think Ghana and Nigeria are the 2 strongest African teams going to Brazil. Nigeria, they're the reigning African champions.
Right now.
A lot of young talent on the Super Eagles squad. But that said, I think Ivory Coast has a chance of getting out of the first round. They're in. Compared to Ghana, they have an easier group for the first round of Brazil. Still have some great players: Yaya Toure, Didier Drogba. He'll be back probably for his last World Cup. Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, proudest World Cup pedigree of any African team. I think, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is their 7th World Cup appearance. So they will not be intimidated by the whole World Cup atmosphere. Algeria from North Africa, I don't give them much of a chance of getting out of the first round, but, these are the 32 best teams in the world.
Right, so anything can happen. Nothing is impossible. But, you can't discount experience,
when a team is highly experienced, they have a lot going for them. But with that said, Sonny, tell us, when the World Cup begins in Brazil, what would be your highest expectations, especially for the African teams?
Well, from a historical perspective, Oral, I don't believe two African teams have ever advanced out of the first round. Now, I know we've had one African team several times move out of the first round. I would love to see
more than one.
Two African teams reach the knockout stage in Brazil. So, I mean, I'd love to see Ghana go through. And Nigeria. I mean, I think it would be, that would be incredible if three African teams were to get out of the first round. I would just like to see two. I think that would be a huge sign of the progress of African football in recent years. And what better stage to do it than
the World Cup?
Than the World Cup.
I can't agree. I can't agree.
But I think it's going to be a great tournament. Nigeria, as we mentioned, has some really good young players. Not just the Nigerian team, but all the teams going to the World Cup. They're starting their World Cup preparations for real.
Right.
I mean, we're less than 100 days from the tournament, and they're in full preparation.
Sonny, tell us, are you going to be able to make it to the World Cup in Brazil this year? I had to put you on the spot.
Fingers crossed, Oral. I'm hoping that I'll be in Brazil, but still a few details to be worked out. So I'm on the fence. I'm kind of on the fence, if you know what I mean.
I understand. Now, let's go back to African sports. We know it's a given that soccer is like the passion of the entire African continent. You've been doing, coverage of African sports for years and years. Take us back to history. Tell us one of the most memorable coverage that you made of African sport, irrespective of the discipline, and what mark it left on you as a reporter.
Well, I'll tell you, Oral, we've been talking African football here, and one of my first real memories of the impact of African football was on my first trip to Ghana. And I've made two trips to Ghana, and I attended, this was back in 2002, I went to the Accra Sports Stadium in your nation's capital,
right.
And I went to a World Cup qualifying match between Ghana and Nigeria. It ended in a draw. I think it was 1-1 was the final score, but I think what really stood out for me from that game was the crowd at the stadium. It was a sold-out crowd. There were literally fans seemingly hanging from the rafters of the stadium. And I thought, how did they get so many people into the stadium?
Right.
And the atmosphere was just wonderful. The fans cheering and singing, and there were fans with face paint and mascots, and I think that it really hit home for me how passionate African soccer fans are when I attended that match. And I realized, how much it's almost like a religion,
right.
In Africa.
To
say that, soccer, it's almost like it's a religion.
If you take Brazil out of the equation, one of the continents where soccer is a religion is Africa.
Yes, I would agree.
People are passionate and crazy about it. Now,
that was a big moment, and I have to throw in one other memorable moment for me. About the same time, it was a year before that trip to Ghana. I went up to Canada, of all places, to cover the World Track Championships, and I was able to meet Haile Gebrselassie,
awesome.
the great Ethiopian athlete, and I think I've posted that photo more than a few times on Facebook and even Twitter.
Nice.
Of me and Haile. And back then I did have more hair on my head. I had a lot more hair, actually. But Haile was he's been a great ambassador for international athletics. And it was a real thrill to meet him.
That's interesting. So, Sonny, when you look at, your listenership and your viewers across the African continent, where would you say the Sunny Side of Sports gets the most listeners from?
Our primary audience, in terms of feedback that I get, Nigeria is our biggest audience. We have our most listeners there. I get probably most, if not many, of my emails and letters from Nigeria. Ghana, also one of our big audiences, and I should mention Sierra Leone. That's we Voice of America actually has a 24/7 FM affiliate in Freetown. And at my Facebook page, I have quite a few fans in Freetown. Shout out for Liberia.
Yeah.
Our friends in Monrovia, if you're listening, we really appreciate your support. And I appreciate your support. And shout out for George Weah from Liberia. He's actually visited Voice of America. It's been about 10 years, but that was another great thrill to meet George Weah.
I can imagine.
And, so, yeah, I would have to say West African countries are probably where we get most of our listenership, but we also broadcast to South Africa, where we have a bureau in Johannesburg.
Right.
And the Voice of America is heard across the continent, not just in English, but in other languages such as French, Portuguese, Swahili, Amharic, Hausa.
Yeah.
It's you know because you worked here that it's kind of what do we say, a United Nations of broadcasting.
Indeed, it is.
And you'll see people from all over the world.
So, Sonny, before we leave you, let's end this with the World Cup and tell us, who do you think? I know you're going to think I'm going to ask who do you think is going to win the World Cup. Well, guess what? I didn't lie. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
Well, I look at it, I mean, in terms of where it's being played. And home teams always have the advantage.
Right.
Let me put it this way. I will be very surprised if Brazil or Argentina, one of their neighbors, a South American team, I should say, if Brazil or Argentina is not in the final of the World Cup, I'll be very surprised. So, I mean, I'll have to go with the Brazilians. I mean, and I'm just basing that on their proud history. They've won 5, more than any other team. They're playing at home. They're going to have so many fans cheering for them. They've got Neymar. That said, we have Messi for Argentina, who has never won a World Cup.
Right.
And so he has something to prove. I think in some ways, until you win the World Cup, you're not really considered the greatest player on the planet. And, many say Messi is the greatest player in the world. If he lifts that trophy, that pretty much says, They'll
complete the circle for him.
And that guy that's right over your shoulder, too. Who's that? What's his name? Ronaldo? Ronaldo, right there he is. See, right there, Ronaldo.
Yeah. Number 7.
He probably has something to prove, too.
I know, right?
And so he might even do it against Ghana, unfortunately. I don't know. We hope not. We say, go Black Stars.
Well, folks, you've been listening to Sonny Young of the VOA English to Africa Sports section. And if you listen to the VOA English to Africa a lot, then I'm sure you're familiar with the sportylicious Sonny Young. This has been our Ofori of the African Dream, and we've been talking to Sonny Young. It's the sunny side of sports.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you.